For all the mothers watching CCR TV, here's a very special episode today. I'm sure you know how important is breast milk for your baby. Breast milk helps keep your baby healthy. It supplies all the necessary nutrients and protects against diseases. August 1st to 7th is celebrated as Breastfeeding Week, and so we have with us today Dr. Mimi Silveira, Professor and Head of the Department of Pediatrics at the Goa Medical College. She is also a member of the St. Luke's Medical Guild. Welcome to our studio, Doctor.
Thank you.
Doctor, why do we need to keep aside a week dedicated to breastfeeding?
Yes, one would wonder why. Breastfeeding is such a natural thing. All mammals breastfeed their young ones. So do humans. Over the generations they've been doing that. But somewhere down the line, breastfeeding has been losing its shine, has been losing its importance. Why would that be? Most probably, it's the glamour and the commercialization of the formula feeds, with pictures of cute, chubby children on the tins and enticing the mothers to use them. The idea that feeding with formula feeds is fashionable. The emergence of working mothers and to a certain extent the loss of support system could probably contribute to this decline in breastfeeding. So knowing well the myriad advantages of breastfeeding and going to the experience of the problems that are there with formula feeds and the bottle, WHO and UNICEF have dedicated this week from 1st to 7th August to make everyone aware, to bring the awareness to all of us, especially to the mothers to be, to the fathers, to the immediate support system, and to the society in general. They want to bring back this shine because breastfeeding is the most natural and unequaled mode of feeding the infants. This year's theme for Breastfeeding Week is breastfeeding, foundation of life and nourishment for life. Why this foundation of life? In the first 2 years, the brain of the child develops almost entirely in the first 2 years of life. And it is exactly at this time that breast milk, with all its ideal composition, helps them to develop their IQ, imparting better education, better performance at workplace, and better lifelong earnings. So that is foundation of life. And why nourishment for life? Again, breastfeeding protects the child from malnutrition, both undernutrition as well as obesity. It also protects the child from many childhood illnesses and also many non-communicable diseases like type 2 diabetes and cancer. So this is nourishment for life.
That's great to know, Doctor. And apart from the advantages that you have already mentioned, which are of course very important to breastfeeding, are there any other advantages of the breast milk for a baby?
Yes, the ones that I mentioned above are extremely important. It's because breast milk is full of what we call it the anti-infective properties. It has got immunoglobulins, it has cells, it has the bifidus factors, all that protect the children from infections. What happens is that when the baby is in the mother's womb, it gives the protection to the baby. But when the umbilical cord is cut, they are separated from the mother. And at the same time, they are unable as yet to produce their own immunoglobulins, its own antibodies. So this is a very vulnerable period for them. It is at this time that breast milk comes to their aid. Breast milk also is it comes at the right temperature, right from the baby from the mother into the baby, without any intervening utensils, so less chances of infection.
True.
It comes at the right temperature, and you are there all the time whenever the baby requires. It is a complete food. It contains all the nutrients that the baby requires, especially for the first 6 months. Another very interesting thing about breast milk, it is that it is tailor-made for the baby. How? In the first few days, the mother secretes what is known as colostrum. It is thick, yellowish in color, very little in amount, but it is laden with energy and what the baby requires. This milk becomes more in amount as the baby grows. So it's different from the initial to the latter part of breastfeeding. It is also tailor-made in each feed. In the beginning of the feed, it is very watery. It is known as foam milk, and it quenches the baby's thirst. As the baby suckles, the baby gets what is known as the hind milk. It is thicker, it satisfies the baby's hunger, and it helps the baby to grow. In addition, we must remember that it also comes in a very cute container.
And besides this, now we spoke about the advantages to the baby. What about the benefits to the mother who is breastfeeding her child?
Yes, there are many advantages for the mother. First and foremost, the weight loss to pre-pregnant state is more rapid. Secondly, when the baby suckles at the breast, the oxytocin that is secreted, it acts on the mother's uterus and protects her from a very dangerous condition known as postpartum hemorrhage. It also protects the mother from cancers of the breast and of the ovaries. It helps or protects her also from another pregnancy. It is free of cost, and it is blissfully convenient. No running around to the nearest store, no getting up at ungodly hours to whip up a bottle, no cleanup, just roll over and nurse the baby. Travel also is very convenient. You don't have to carry your pots and pans and the bottle and the stove. It's just you and the baby.
Since you say breast milk is so important and beneficial to the newborn, what determines the success of breastfeeding?
I think to begin with, let us start how breastfeeding works. When the baby suckles at the breast, she stimulates nerve endings that are present in the nipple as well as the areola. And messages go to mother's hypothalamus, then to the pituitary, from where two important hormones are released, the prolactin and the oxytocin. The prolactin helps in the production of milk. The longer the baby suckles at the breast, the more vigorously she suckles at the breast, and the more frequently she suckles, it stimulates the prolactin secretion. So emptying of the breasts and the night feeds are powerful stimulators of this hormone prolactin. Oxytocin, on the other hand, is stimulated by psychological factors. Thinking lovingly of the baby, the sound of the baby, the confidence she has on breastfeeding, all these stimulate oxytocin. Many mothers will tell you that even though they are away from the baby, if they just think lovingly about the baby, there is a letdown of the milk. This oxytocin reflex is also known as the milk ejection reflex or the letdown reflex. Now, the next thing that you need to look for the success of breastfeeding is the position of the mother. The first and foremost is the position of the mother. She can adopt any position. She can lie down, she can sit on a chair, she can sit on the ground. But the most important thing to see is that her back is supported either by the wall or the back of a chair or the back of the bed. This is to avoid backache. Please remember that this is a function that the mother does almost every 2 to 3 hours a day, every day of the week, for weeks and even months. So the trick is not for the mother to go on to approach the baby, but bring the baby up to the mother's breast. The second thing is about the position of the baby in regard to the mother. When we normally hold the baby's abdomen faces upwards. And so if at that time the baby needs to feed, the head is rotated towards the breast. So that causes a twist in the neck of the baby, which causes a lot of discomfort. There are many mothers that come and tell us that the moment the baby is put to the breast, the baby cries. In all probability, look at the position. So what is the best position? The best position is that the baby should face the mother. Both her face as well as the tummy, her tummy should touch the mother's tummy. The back and the head of the baby should also be supported in a straight line. Another important thing for the success of breastfeeding is how the baby latches onto the breast. We must remember that the milk-filled sinuses are underneath the areola of the baby. So it's important that almost the whole areola is inside the baby's mouth. So for a good latching position, the baby's mouth should be wide open, the lower lip should be curved outwards, most of the areola should be inside the baby's mouth, and the chin should touch the baby's back. Now this ensures that the areola stimulates the hard palate of the baby, causing the baby to suckle, and the baby gets a good amount of milk with each suckle.
So are there factors that will hamper milk production?
Yes. Now, since say giving prelactal fields, if you give the baby glucose water, honey, gripe water, if you give the baby the bottle, if the position of the baby is not good, as well as if the mother is anxious, is worried, is not confident in breastfeeding, all these are detrimental to the success of breastfeeding.
And how soon after birth should a mother start breastfeeds?
The recommendation is in the first hour, because at this time the baby is very active. The baby has just come through the stress of labor, and that's the time when the baby is very active. So we make use of this active time when the baby suckles at the breast strongly, so gets some amount of the colostrum, so preventing the hurt from getting into hypoglycemia. The cuddling of the mother helps the baby not to go into hypothermia. This suckling also initiates in the mother the process of production of milk, and the oxytocin that is secreted will act on the uterus, preventing her from going into postpartum hemorrhage.
Okay. And how often should a mother be feeding the baby?
Well, the feeding should be always on demand. Okay? The clock should be in the baby's stomach rather than on the wall. Yeah? Some babies want the feed earlier, others want it a little later. On an average, it's about 2.5 to 3 hours. Yeah?
And how long should a mother nurse the baby in one sitting?
Again, my rule of thumb is that you watch the baby and and not the clock. If both are comfortable, yeah, you let the baby set the pace. Okay, so allow her to suckle for as long as she wants, yeah, in one breast. So she gets both the fore milk as well as the hind milk. Then you allow the baby to, then you offer the next breast. If the baby still continues to be hungry, then she will take that feed. So when you give the next feed, you start from the second breast to begin with. This reminds me of when two people go maybe to the canteen, and they both start the thali at the same time. Do both of them finish at the same time? No. So some finish early, some finish. So also with the babies, they have their own pace. So let them, suckle for as long as they want.
Okay. And for how long to breastfeed?
Well, exclusive breastfeeding should be for the first 6 months, because that's the time when milk contains all the nutrients that that baby requires. You could continue for 2 years or even beyond.
Okay.
Yeah. But at 6 months, one needs to introduce adequate as well as safe complementary feeds.
All right. And how would a mother know that the baby is getting sufficient milk?
Yes. The best way to know is to follow the weight gain of the baby. In the first 3 months, the baby gains about 25 to 30 grams a day. So if the weight gain is good, then it means that the baby is getting sufficient amount of milk. The next thing that mother can see is the number of times the baby passes urine. If the baby passes 6 to 8 times or more, then that means that the baby is well hydrated. And if in an exclusively breastfed baby, the hydration comes only from breast milk. In addition, the baby will be comfortable, will sleep well, not be irritable. So that's how you see that. You should not go by the cry of the baby. Okay? Because babies cry whenever they are upset, or even when they want just the mother to cuddle them. Yeah. Now, if at the time of crying the mother offers the breast, she will still latch onto it even though she's not hungry.
Doctor, what should the diet of a mother be during breastfeeding? Are there any foods that she should be avoiding?
I think you eat what you enjoy. Yeah. The wonderful thing about eating a variety of food during nursing is that in a way you're exposing the baby to flavors of solid foods. The breast milk, the flavors of breast milk changes, unlike the formula feeds, which is the same throughout. Yeah, so this will give him a good head start, right? Now, many mothers feel very hungry during nursing. And and it makes a lot of sense, because the mother is working throughout the day to produce milk for her baby. Now, eating small meals with healthy snacks in between will go a long way in helping her hunger, as well as giving her the energy boost that she requires. So basically, you eat a balanced diet. Don't count the calories. Aim at very slow and steady loss of weight. Drink a lot of water. Go easy, or I would say stop alcohol altogether. Yeah, limit the amount of caffeine you're taking, and try to decrease and look at foods that do not have any contaminants like pesticides and
So, doctor, in today's society, in modern society, where a lot of ladies, a lot of women are working, can a working mother exclusively breastfeed?
Yes, yes, and yes. Yeah, unfortunately, that is the most common reason given for discontinuation of breast milk.
Yes.
Now, how we can do that? How we can help the mothers continue their breastfeeds during the working. First and foremost, you take as much leave as you can, right? If possible, 6 months, yeah, and even beyond. Then you breastfeed the baby till a few days before you resume. You don't have to stop much before, decrease. Thirdly, you can express breast milk and leave it leave it to be given later for the baby. So you can express and keep it. Once you've resumed work, then you breastfeed prior to going to work, breastfeed after you come back to work, breastfeed during the nights, and more during the holiday time. When you are at work, you can express breast milk and keep it. Express breast milk can be kept at room temperature for as long as 8 hours and in the fridge for even 24 hours. Now this express milk, now something about breast milk, about express breast milk. It can be done manually, and it can also be done by breast pumps. There are electrical breast pumps and there are manual breast pumps also. So very easily the mother can express and keep. Now the express breast milk is very different from the cow's milk. It is a little yellow in color and it settles down in layers when kept standing. So this the mother needs to know, because there are many mothers that discard it, seeing it so different from the normal notion we have about milk.
Yeah.
Now this expressed breast milk is given to the baby with a katori and spoon and never with a bottle.
Okay. Why should a bottle not be used, doctor?
Well, it causes what is known as the nipple confusion. If you see the way the baby gets milk from a bottle, it's much easier. The milk falls from the bottle. All the baby has to do is control the swallowing. Whereas from the breast, the baby has to actually extract it from. So it is labor intensive. Yeah. So surely and steadily, even if the mother gives one bottle feeds in a day, yeah, the baby opts for the easy way out. Okay. Now after this, if I want to go home and I'm given two options, either to walk home or go in a limousine, what do you think I will choose?
The limousine.
The limousine, of course, right? So small as they are, babies too choose the easy way out. Yeah. In addition, giving bottle feeds, the bottle teats are made of rubber. So the chances of infections, no matter how much you wash, yeah, there is always a chance of infection being being transmitted through the nipple. Also, most often parents give the bottle feeds in a lying down position. So they have an increased incidence of ear infection, yeah, and they get what is known as the bottle caries. So these are some of the disadvantages and problems with bottle feeds.
You have started the first human milk bank in Goa. Could you tell us something about it?
Yeah, we were fortunate to start some time back this first human milk bank in Goa. When the mother's own milk is unavailable or insufficient, yeah, the next best option is this pasteurized donor human milk. Now, India has unique challenges. It has the highest incidence of low birth weights and a significant mortality and morbidity in the very low birth weights, less than 1,000 grams. So feeding these babies with this pasteurized donor milk when their own mother's milk is not enough, then it reduces the risk of infection in them. So we need to support this so that all these thousands of babies can be saved. So what is this about, all this about human milk banking? It's nothing but collecting the mother's milk, processing it, yeah, storing, and then disbursing. So the donors are healthy lactating mothers with healthy children who voluntarily would like to donate the extra milk to these needy babies without compromising the nutritional requirements of their own baby. Yeah. So what we do is that we counsel the mothers, and then they go to a process of finding out the suitability, whether they have any diseases or anything. Then we get a consent from them, and then they are sent to the milk bank for the donation. So milk is collected in a very hygienic manner through breast pumps, electric breast pumps. Then after collecting, it is pasteurized by the Holder's method. Yeah? And so that this Holder's method kills all the organisms that could have been there, so that the milk that is given to the baby is pretty safe. Now, to ensure that it is really safe, a sample is sent to the microbiology department, both prior to pasteurization as well as after pasteurization. And only when this comes negative for any organism is that milk kept for disbursing to the needy babies.
Okay.
Donating milk in no way decreases the amount of milk of that lactating mother to her own child. On the contrary, since the breasts are further emptied, this will stimulate prolactin, which will further increase the production of milk. Now, donation of milk is a new concept. Everyone doesn't know yet what it's all about. It's up to us to spread this news, because it's going to save, it will save thousands of needy children.
Okay.
So my request to all the healthy lactating mothers is to come all the way to our milk bank and donate. Donate to save. There is a saying that the more you give, the more you get. And that is so very true about breastfeeding.
And doctor, for the mothers who would like to donate or the mothers who would like to avail of this facility, could you tell us where the Human Milk Bank is located?
Well, it is just outside our NICU. So in the medical college, we have on the second floor of the building of the obstetric and gynecology, we have our neonatal intensive care unit, and just outside that is our milk bank. So every mother is welcome, every lactating mother is welcome to come there and donate for this great cause.
And doctor, there are a lot of mothers to be watching in our channel. Is there any message that you would like to give to our viewers in general?
In summary, breast milk is the best milk for the newborn. All parents know about this, but many a times their conviction does not have strong roots. So at the slightest of problems, at the slightest of doubts, they opt for the easy formula feeds. What I want to tell them today is that every breastfeeding problem has a solution, and the solution is not switching or supplementing with formula feeds. I hope the talk today will convince them of the real benefits of breastfeeding, and so that they make real efforts in finding the right solutions for the problems if and when they arise.
And doctor, finally, what message would you like to give to all the CCR TV viewers?
My message to all you viewers is that you must passionately promote and support breastfeeding in the newborns. Support the lactating mother as well. We must remember that the newborn of today is an adult of tomorrow. So let us give him the foundation of life and the nourishment for life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, doctor, for your precious time here with us in the studio. I'm sure all the mothers and the mothers-to-be and all the viewers of CCR TV are surely benefited from your valuable information. Thank you so much.
My
God bless
pleasure.
you.
My pleasure.